At the resort, after the celebration, there was a graduation ceremony, a prom. It was really a prom. Al dressed up in a tuxedo, Erotica dressed up in a ballroom gown, and the four couples were joined by another eight couples who were staff at the facility, and they had a grand ball of 12 couples, each in the quadrants of the compass or the zodiac, and they were accomplished. I don't know if you've ever had the chance to waltz with an accomplished dance partner, but you've seen pictures maybe on television, Fred Astaire or whatever, where they just pick up and it's like flying, where you're balanced with your partner. You know her steps as well as she knows your steps. You move in unison. And indeed, this is part of the extension of the practice of the bonding that took place at the resort. So now, Al and Erotica, or for that matter, all of the other three couples, or the eight couples that joined them on the ballroom floor for the prom. Uh, they were all accomplished in partnerships to the extent that they could enjoy a dance and a waltz, and it's just like flying, where you're balanced with your partner, you're in arms, swirling around the dance floor. And I think you've seen the gowns are so extensive that the lady has her right arm extended to pick up the gown, and the man has his right arm around her waist, holding her tightly so she can lean back and balance his heavier bulk. And they spin around like tops in a circle. Uh, it, it's not only a beautiful thing to look at; it's a beautiful thing to experience. It's part of the significant emotional event. Now, look that up. SEE, significant emotional events. Look it up on YouTube. Psychology of that kind of bonding, and the robots. I think we all well know if one robot knows something, it gets telepathically transmitted to the other robots. And that's what we're looking at with this kind of bonding here between, first of all, couples, and then with the graduation group of four couples. And these four couples will meet down in San Diego with the larger groups. They'll all go out together as a consort of 12 couples, 8, 8, and 8, 24 couples, uh, as a group that by now are beginning to develop telepathic abilities, so that not only can the human being as a bio think about it think about it, we're a biological robot. We've been evolved from sea slugs. It's just awfully suspicious that somebody, something, or somehow, you can call it anything you want, God or creation, or you can even be an atheist, but there's something afoot here it just seems like beyond accidental that we can just come up from a sea slug to this advanced biological robot that we all are as human beings, Homo sapiens. We took over from the Neanderthals. There wasn't anything wrong with the Neanderthals. And if you go back even further back to the original Lucy, out of Africa, there were many species, but several at least species of humanoids. Uh, they sort of like fell by the wayside. The Neanderthal had its rise to glory, but the Homo sapiens came along with mostly a greater ability to socialize and to work together in larger and larger groups, so that the family loyal tribal tradition of the Neanderthals were overtaken by the organizational abilities of the Homo sapiens that we are. So it's almost a natural evolutionary course of events that we would evolve to the point where there's a next generation, like Nietzsche was talking about, that uh, yeah, Nietzsche actually talks about how there has to be a superhuman somewhere in the future, because what we are as humanoids is just archaic. the way we behave to each other, the way we deal with our planet that we live on. We need to be evolved to a higher level of human being, and it involves telepathy, and that's part of the practice that's going on here, and it will be expanded in San Diego and then developed to a much greater extent on the islands off of Ecuador in the Pacific. And I think you may know that there's a deep trench in the Pacific that goes over 2 miles in depth, and we'll talk about what happens at those deep ocean, the trench, because that's an excellent place to put a very, very large mothership just buried down there, so that whoever is tinkering with us would be able to come up, deal with us on Earth, and actually not be in our three-dimensional time space, but be in another dimension and appear to us, deal with us in our three-dimensional reality, and then cloak back into their upper dimensions, and maybe they have a base on the moon. The moon is an awfully suspicious sphere, how it always faces in one direction, and you may or may not know that one of our expended observational satellites was crashed. Once it expended its fuel, couldn't remain in orbit around the moon. They dropped it, crashed it into the moon, and the moon rang like a bell. Now, there's no atmosphere, so there's no sound, but you could tell by surface sensors, that the moon's surface was vibrating and rang like a gong when it got hit. Somebody's coming in. I got to give it up. Bye-bye.